Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. Once again, it is Late Night America on the American Doofus channel. Not going to be here very long tonight on a late night on a Friday. It is midnight. It is the 10th day officially now on the East Coast of September 2022. It is 12:03 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So, 11:03 Central, 10:03 Pacific, and 9:03 or 10:03 Mountain and 9:03 Pacific. So thank you all for joining. It is officially Saturday morning here on the East Coast, and officially the day before we remember 9/11 and the 21st year since the tragedies of 9/11, several tragedies. And we're going to be doing something for 9/11, of course, on Sunday night. Going to be live tomorrow night as well at midnight if things go as scheduled, if something else doesn't come up. And tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about um, how close are we to civil war and how did we get here? And I'm just going to begin. Well, first of all, I'm going to look over and say hi to the chat before I get out of here. Oomph. Thank you for being here. Sissy, thank you so much for everything you've done, everything you do. Awesome. Hi, Joy. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about it because September 11th, 2001, we were probably as unified as a country as we have been in probably since possibly World War II in 1945. So from 45 till 2001, divisions grew and continued to grow, and we're going to talk about all that tomorrow night. I saw something, and we were probably as united as we've ever been on September 11th, 2001, and we might be as divided as we've been since the war between the North and the South. Hopefully, it doesn't come to be known as the first Civil War, but some things are some things you can dismiss. Some things are in your face. Some things are in your face, and some things are, well, that's troubling. But and when I saw this from Donald Trump, former president of the United States, the FBI raiding my home is a declaration of war against me and my supporters. I am making the final move to remove and destroy Joe Biden and the deep state. Don't miss the biggest live event in United States history. A very similar phrased and worded tweet came out in prior to January 6th, as it's biggest party biggest party ever. It's going to be wild. I think was somewhere along the lines of January 6th. So the January 6th if that wasn't an attack on America, it was an attack on established democracy. Whether those that perpetrated the attack meant it that way or not, that's what it was. And those that are in jail, the ones that I'm aware of, the charges that they have been filed against them, they're not political prisoners. They're not in there for their political views. If that were the case, some of you watching this would be political prisoners because you would be in prison for having views of F. Joe Biden. Okay. If you were put in prison every time you said somebody's put in prison every time they said that they would be political prisoners. But the people that are prisoners because of their violence or because of the threats of violence. Okay. And there are a lot of people trying to whitewash a lot of things. There are a lot of people trying to deflect from the truth. There are a lot of people trying to reinterpret history into a way that is somehow in their favor when the truth is the truth. And it is going to be harder and harder, more difficult to tell the truth and have it be heard as the truth, because as this division continues to grow, and if we don't stop it, it is going to continue to grow. And part of the purpose and function of this channel is to try to stop it. It has been since we started, as we're going to show tomorrow night. If we don't stop it, truth is going to be the biggest victim. And when you lose truth, as we saw in Nazi Germany in World War II, as we're seeing in Eastern Europe already, when you lose truth, atrocities, evil, and horrendous activities not only become justified, but they become celebrated. And I never imagined America would be on the precipice of something like that happening. Now, for those of you watching that are thinking, this guy's an idealist, there's no way we're going to, heal anything. Everything's well. No, we're not going to totally heal everything, but if we can get enough of us talking and understanding and going, yeah, okay, yeah, violence against each other is not going to be the answer. We can possibly save our country, but I fear that we may be too late. I still hope I'm a doofus on that. I hope I'm wrong on that. I'm going to keep trying, and I hope you'll join me in trying. Not that I'm trying to lead anything, but just that enough of us talking about how asinine it would be, as hard as things are right now in our country for a lot of us. If we were at war at the moment with ourselves, there wouldn't be no transportation. There would be no goods, no services. There would be no gasoline. There would be no electricity, because one side's cutting it off somewhere and the other side's cutting it off somewhere else. And those of us caught in the middle are doing nothing but suffering. Now, if we want to take that path, then that's the path that we'll go. But we need to wake up and understand that we need to start putting pressure on both sides to understand that there are a lot of us in this country that really care about this country. We don't necessarily trust the government, no matter if it's a Republican or Democrat. Okay. Now that's totally different than people wanting to put Donald Trump in as potentate or, dictator, king. That's totally different. We don't trust the government. Some of us don't trust the government because of the economics behind our political system that need to be changed. Now, there are those that say, well, if you want to change things, you go and vote, and you do. But this November, are we going to be able to go and vote without having to cross an armed line of supporters? Just something to think about. Lynette, keep hope alive. I'm trying to. Like I said, I'm not going to be on here very long tonight because I'm going to have probably a pretty long show tomorrow night, and I'm inviting people, that anybody that wants to come on and talk tomorrow night about this fact that, or if you want to come on and say, look, I heard your show last night, and I think you're being an alarmist, and we're not really close to anything like a civil war. Come on, I'll gladly have you on. And it's the same thing about, if you're a hardcore Trump should be dictator, and you want to come on, I'd love to have you on and try to understand why you believe what you believe. And if you've watched the show, you know how it will go. Unless you get so just abusive or anything like that I got to cut you off. In all the panels we've done and all the interviews I've done, never have I ever cut anybody off. So tomorrow night, spread the word if you would, because I think it's going to be a show. I think a lot of people, I think everybody should see it, but I think a lot of people will be interested to see where we're at and how we got here. And as I said, I got a couple other things. That Lori Arnold was in. Lori Arnold, for those that don't know, and I mean, it's been the hottest summer smash reality internet show, Patriots or Pedos. Lori Arnold, who has been in opposition to the 1776 restoration movement, who has allegedly been not only harboring but supporting sex offenders. And Lori was in Muncie today, Muncie, Indiana, about, I don't know, 60 miles from where I'm at right now. And if I'd have known she was going to be there, I would have went up and I'd have live streamed her and had her back too, just in case. But nonetheless, just because, we're on different sides politically. Okay. But anyway, we learned some things up there. We learned that the sex offender Marcus Kopic, he's admitted it. He pled guilty. He's done time, and he's a level 3 sex offender, which means that the potential to reoffend is high. So, and unfortunately, we've got a lot of those in our country, and it wasn't something I was fully aware of all not that long ago, as far as the amount. And as far as the amount of missing people, and as far as the impact of human trafficking, um, and I was ignorant on those things, and I've learned a lot since then and about the danger. But nonetheless, Lori was up there, and I'm just going to share just a couple of seconds and let Lori talk to all of us, because she asked that she didn't ask me personally, but as you will hear, she asked that this gets shared.
Put out as much as possible. You guys get this information out, please. Every avenue you can, to everybody that you can, to have them call. We'll have to look it up. Call the people, the probation officer that is letting this happen. Who's in charge of him? I don't know who that is. I'm going to find out, because I'm going to have to call too. But we need to flood their lines. Flood the lines. This.
Okay. You can go and watch Lori on her stream on Lori Arnold. I just got a message. I don't know if it's. I just got a message from someone that I trust, and I assume they know, that said Marcus Coppock has not lived in Indiana and lives in Missouri. What Lori was up there looking for the residence where he was supposed to be residing, and if you, I believe it's on one of her. Well, I know it is because I was watching it live. Someone came out of that residence and confronted her. You can see that. Go to Lori Arnold on YouTube. I want her to have the views, and but I got a message that he is in Missouri, or Missouri, depends where you're at and where you're from and your dialect, and has not been living there. So he's registered at the address in Indiana, but he hasn't been living there. This, I'm not going to talk a lot more about this after what I just found out, because sounds like there's more to this, or sometimes things get slipped through the cracks with law enforcement. So, hello, Luther. Greetings. So, I'm not going to talk any more about that until I find out some more about that. One other thing that I want to bring up that I touched on during our last live, and that was the mass shooter in Memphis, Tennessee, and a young 19-year-old black man was apparently randomly shooting people. He was live streaming it, and I want to bring it up because normally the mass shooters aren't black, and too many times when a black person does something, a lot of people in the white community go into monolithic thinking. They go into the well, all black people, all black people, all black people. Now, there are black people that are monolithic thinkers that think all white people, all white people hate all black people. Okay, we need to get away from monolithic thinking totally. Whether it's a difference in pigment of skin, whether it's a difference in sex, whether it is a difference in sexual preference, whether it is a difference in anything that we use to discriminate, to disparage, to marginalize any other people. All right. I point that out because the white community often, not, I'm going to be monolithic if I don't correct myself. Many people in the white community quickly jump to monolithic thinking when it comes to a member of the black community. So I want to point something out, and let's just listen. This is his actual live stream.
Nigga, y'all need to be slammed by Pooh Curry, you hear me? So get what I'm doing. I'm around this bitch all day, you hear me? I'm wagging shit. Go check the news. So for the first this morning, you hear me? I just checked. I hit you in South Memphis, you hear me? Jay one a month ago, you hear me? You hear me? I ain't no flies, man, nigga. I probably ain't saw one of my you hear me? But y'all want me to turn this shit back up? Crank back up? Crank back up or something? I crank this shit back up. For real talk. These niggas be playing. These niggas be flies. What these niggas was there when we coming up? You hear me? But I gotta respect the guy, you hear me? We getting old. Niggas looking at us like, who the fuck y'all here now, you hear me? I'm really out here. I'm really out here. Switches and shit, you hear me? That shit ain't nothing. Everybody I just tell with the switch, you hear me? Who can't get with? You hear me? You know I'm stepping for you. Darlo got here with that Drake. Taylor got here with that Drake. You hear me? 762. Man, what going on, man? Tune in on the live, man. You hear me? For real. Check the 2 out in South Memphis. This shit for real, nigga. We do this shit for real.
Okay. I think you might get an idea that there is an emotional or a mental problem potentially with this individual. I hope you do anyway, and I hope you don't automatically assume, like again, many in the white community do, that all black people, and especially all black young men, and I'm not speaking for the black community, okay? I'm speaking to the white community. All right? I'm not white. I'm not white Jesus, savior of the black people. No, that's not what this is about. This is about pointing out a fault that can be corrected, a fault of monolithic thinking, a fault that can be corrected, and a fault that is caused by ignorance and fear that comes from that ignorance. 75% of the white community does not have a regular conversation with anyone in any other pigment of skin other than their own. 75% of white America does not have a regular conversation, and some, too many in fact, never have any conversation with anyone other than another white person. Now, and I've said this before, and I've shown I don't have it pulled up at the moment, but I've shown the survey, and on the surface it's like, oh, there's no way that many. Okay, the black population, the brown population, the various pigments other than Caucasian are centralized in various areas in a giant big country, and a whole bunch of the country is just white. Rural America, all white. 1%, 2% of minorities, basically all white. And unless you go out of your way to try to, and if you're going to be one of the kind of people who are going to go out of your way, chances are you're going to move to a city. Just saying. And chances are a lot of people with melanated skins are not going to be moving into rural areas. So unless I played sports, I played music, and I was able to, and I grew up in a period where it was not only cool, it was encouraged to communicate with people that weren't like yourself in many areas. All right. The actual place I was at, anyway. So if you're one of the people that never ever talk to anybody that doesn't look like you, think like you, or sound like you, we've got this thing now called the internet. And you can communicate, you can talk back and forth, or you can just sit and watch and possibly learn. And instead, too many in the white community look at one thing, Fox News, anything like that, okay? And that's all they look at. And when you only look one way, you only see one thing. And if you're only seeing one thing, you're monolithic. We need to be able to have, and we need to be able to have and to hold different perspectives and different views. And we need to be able to judge people as individuals and not based upon boxes or categories or less than, especially less than. So those were the two things I wanted to really get out tonight. And bonjour, Gypsy from the Valley. Just lurking. Cool. It's all right. Luther, it's difficult to get away from it. It is, man. I know. And I fall into it. I have to constantly remind myself. And but it can be done. And it may be the only way we can save our country for the future generations. We should be working to leave this country better. The whole world, honestly, we should be working to leave the whole world better when we leave it. And I don't see a lot of that going on. I see a lot of people wanting to destroy everything. All for self, basically. All because we are so focused on ourselves that we can't, walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, metaphorically. And we can't put ourselves in other people's perspective or try to understand other people's perspectives, put ourselves in other people's place. When you have the elite group pushes the agenda to divide and keeps chaos and confusion going to further push their political agenda. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Luther. And I'm going to be live tomorrow night at midnight, starting at midnight. And if you want to come on, Luther, Gypsy, Lynette, Joy, Sissy. I know Sissy doesn't like to show her face, but Sissy shares so much great stuff. If you want to come on, and you don't have to show your face. You can come on and just talk. And I'm going to open that up tomorrow night to do that. So two other things I want to mention. I've got written down here that two other things I want to mention before I close out that I'm going to bring into the discussion tomorrow night. To some, the idea of freedom equals lawlessness. And I think that's very dangerous. And I don't know if I've ever heard somebody actually say that out loud, but I think it needs to be said. I think it needs to be considered. I think it needs to be discussed. To some people, freedom equals lawlessness. They don't want freedom. They've already got freedom. They want lawlessness. It's just an observation. It's just my personal opinion. And it could be wrong, but think about it. And the other thing is, and actually, Oomph mentioned this the other night, patriotism is not equal to nationalism. And as I said, here's an example. Baptist leader speaks out. Christian nationalism is not Christianity. Okay. This is on CNN. I'll play just a couple of seconds of it here.
By some of the Trumpiest members of Congress.
We need to be the party of nationalism, and I'm a Christian and I say it proudly. We should be Christian nationalists.
The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired.
Actually, Congresswoman Boebert, I've got an episode on my channel that goes through the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and I stop and talk about some of the things in there. And one of the things I talk about is the idea that there is freedom of religion and freedom from religion. So you're wrong on both counts, but you got an incredible voice, an incredible platform, and many people are going to buy into that. And we need to start pushing back against things that sometimes go unchecked or unquestioned even. And it fits right into what Luther was saying. You got this elite group pushing agendas to divide. And the same thing, nationalism does not equal patriotism. Nationalism sure doesn't equal Christianity. Nationalism is just a politically correct word for white privilege, and possibly white privilege on steroids. That's my opinion. It's something to think about. I'll be back tomorrow night at midnight. I hope you'll join me. Thanks for watching. Namaste. Shalom. Salam. Assalamu alaikum. Blessings in the name of the Most High, His Son Jesus, and the Holy Spirit if you're a fellow Christian. I love you all. See you tomorrow night.